So we're the founders of Fall in Love with Sales and Natasha Grace and Ksenia Demidova. And today we have a guest, Ryan Caswell, who's going to be sharing a lot about LinkedIn. So sales we obviously, as you know, we're incredibly obsessed with sales and we love sales. And before that come the leads, right? And we finding different channels on how to activate the sales and how to bring them more leads. And today we're going to be talking about LinkedIn. It's a platform that is incredible for B2B sales and it definitely can be utilized. And again, that information is gold. That's something that we've been taking in and working on ourselves as well. So we'd love to share that with you. So Ryan, we'll just leave that to you.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much for the introduction. And I guess I'll just jump straight into it. So thanks everyone for joining us today. And today I really want to answer two key questions when it comes to LinkedIn. So first of all, how can you use the platform to generate more high quality leads day in and day out? And second of all, who the hell am I and why should anyone even be listening to what I have to say? So to begin with, I just might move this a bit. Might minimize, there we go, that's better. So yeah, my name is Ryan Caswell and I help B2B professionals generate new leads by starting valuable conversations with their ideal clients over LinkedIn. And today I wanted to go over why it's super important for small B2B businesses to be focusing on the platform LinkedIn specifically. I want to go over why it's really important to focus on generating leads and sales versus likes and impressions. So there's a big war for attention out there today and people are starting to equate getting likes and attention and impressions with success. But all I'm really interested in is, of course, how does that actually translate to money in the bank and actually helping people with your service? And then I want to go into why it's really important to have your own lead generation system that works for you in the background so that you can focus on doing what you do best and letting your sales and marketing just work in the background. Then I also want to go through the nuts and bolts of LinkedIn. So first of all, what I like to call the 3 Ps, or actually 4 Ps now, there's a fourth one, which I'll talk about in just a second. So first of all, how do you optimize your profile so that it resonates with your target market? Then how do you find people? How do you find the exact people that you want to target and that your services solve a problem for? And then prospecting. How do you start conversations with those people on the platform in a way that's non-sleazy and non-salesy and gets people interested in what you have to say? And the fourth P, which I need to add in here, is of course positioning. So how do you, once you've connected with people, how do you position yourself as an expert so that when the time comes, these people want to come to you? So this is perfect for anyone who is B2B. So what I mean is people who sell exclusively or at least sell to other businesses. And people are looking for a proven method for lead generation. People who are tired of creating content that generates little return. And finally, people who are really good at what they do and want to spend more of their time focused on that and less of the time creating content. Oh, I think I might have missed a slide. Sorry, it's a bit slow for some reason. Sorry, guys. All right, so this is perfect for, like I said, anyone who is B2B. So we're looking at strategy consultants, accountants, video marketers, IT providers, software developers, people, niche consultants in mining, education, software developers, as I already said that, and of course software resellers. So the key thing here is that these people are all, of course, B2B. They're all selling their services exclusively to other businesses. Then the best part about this, of course, is that you can do it from anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter where you are, when you want to do it. All you need is an internet connection and a laptop, making this be able to work around your life rather than your life having to work around networking events and scheduled events and things like that. Now, today I wanted to go also over why I've specifically focused on LinkedIn. I've done a lot of different other things with regard to digital marketing and web development, and it's actually quite specific as to why I've decided to focus on the platform. It's really important to understand that my background isn't initially in sales and marketing, so I can definitely relate to anyone out there who has that unsettled feeling when it comes to getting yourself out there and marketing yourself and selling yourself. And this is far from something that I was comfortable to do with in the beginning. So my background, of all things, began in underground coal mining. So this is what I used to look like every day after 12, 14-hour shifts. I used to go some weeks without even seeing the sun. So it wasn't the most inspiring work that you could think of, but the money was very good. But of course, this wasn't something that I was particularly passionate about. And I always had this dream to go away and start my own thing and build my own business and just do something that was a bit more, a bit more inspiring. And so seemingly out of nowhere, my wife and I ended up moving to Brazil, and we set up this bed and breakfast out in the mountainsides. So in a lot of ways, this is kind of like a dream come true. This beautiful green rolling hills, countless waterfalls, mist. It was like something from the movie Avatar, the movie on the planet Pandora. It was really, in a lot of ways, it was a dream come true. And we built this beautiful little boutique cabin and bed and breakfast out in the mountains. And this was an amazing product, an amazing service, and everything about it was, we poured our heart and soul into it. But unfortunately, because of this distaste I had towards sales and marketing, the business never really took off. And so that was really my first valuable lesson in business, in that you've got to focus on sales and marketing. You've got to sell yourself, because if people don't know about you, it doesn't matter how good your product is, you're dead in the water unless you actually make the effort to push yourself and put yourself out there. So a couple of years later, I found myself back in Australia. My wife and I, we had a child. My wife was no longer working, and I just started as a junior in a new industry, so I was working full time. And so our combined wages were severely chopped. We put all our money into our previous business, so I was trying to think of other ways to create an income. So in my spare time, I built this online business. So it was an e-commerce website focused on selling rock climbing equipment or training equipment for rock climbers. And this was something I put a lot of time and effort into once again. So my background is actually originally in engineering and mining. So it was all beautifully orchestrated and engineered, and everything connected up beautifully. It connected wholesalers with the actual customers. I didn't have to lift a finger, and this thing would just make money for me if actually people would turn up. But once again, the problem was I focused too much on building the product and what I thought was really, really cool, but I didn't focus enough or even really any of the time into sales and marketing. I just thought if the product was good enough, it would just sell itself. Unfortunately, this isn't the case. So I realized that if I wanted to start a successful business, I had to solve a very real problem. And for me, that problem was, a lot of people are good at what they do. They can create a good service, they can create a good product. They just have trouble finding or getting in front of that ideal client. And so I knew that if I really wanted to solve a good problem, I needed to find a way to get people to tap into that source of their ideal client, so that all they needed to do was focus on just that service or that product, or just making that better and better and better, and less on trying to optimize and do 1,000 different things. So it's a bit slow. going to skip a whole bunch if I keep clicking. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys, it's just sort of lagging a little bit, but that's all right. I'll continue. So what I found though, well, it's jumping around a little bit. All right, so I knew that if I wanted to have a successful business, what I was saying was that I needed to solve a real problem. And what the problem was for me was, how do you tap into this source? And so I did everything I could to focus on all the different digital marketing platforms. I became a web developer, did Instagram, Facebook, SEO, you name it, I've done it. And what I found was really interesting with businesses. What I found working for both large organizations and small businesses was that small businesses would often try and emulate what the big players were doing, and they would often not see the results, or they just wouldn't make any progress whatsoever. And what I found was very interesting is that small businesses would, trying to do everything was a little bit like trying to start a whole bunch of fires. So if you're trying to do LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, as a small business, you really only have a small amount of resources. And so when you're trying to start all these fires, essentially, what happens is you start one, and then you go to work on another one, and then that fire that you originally started, it starts to die, and you start focusing on another one, and then that one dies, and you come back, and you put a little bit more effort in one, and then the other ones die out. And none of them actually ever build up enough heat or enough momentum to provide any value for your business. So what I found was that for small businesses, they needed to find which platform was actually going to provide the highest chance of providing highest ROI, and put all their focus and energy on that one platform. And for small businesses that were B2B, I found that once you had tapped out your immediate network, or and you knew you had a service that was valuable, and you knew that you could sell it and that it was going to actually provide good value to your clients, that they needed to start focusing on LinkedIn. The beautiful thing is, once you actually start to get some momentum and get the heat big enough on one platform, is that you actually start seeing results, you can start applying what you know works from that to the other platforms. And it's like taking a log from that and then starting to build another fire. It becomes a lot easier once you've got one going, and then it becomes easier to start applying to the other platforms and get all these standalone working marketing systems that almost work on their own in the background, so you can focus on what you do best. And like I said, for small B2B businesses, I found that this was almost always LinkedIn as the best place to go to once you've tapped out your original network. So let's talk a little bit about LinkedIn specifically and why it's so powerful. So with over 600 million users in 200 countries, people on LinkedIn are in business mode. It's not like Instagram or Facebook. People aren't posting pictures of puppies and what they had for breakfast. This is a place for business, and people are expecting to see things about business on the platform, which is great. And the best thing of all is that everyone on the platform is available to talk one-on-one, just so long as you have the right strategy to approach those people and show them that you can really add value to them. One of the reasons I really like LinkedIn, I see it as a really powerful platform, is demonstrated by this little graph here. So most people I've worked with, they say, oh, just get me in front of someone, get me on a call, get me on that face-to-face meeting, and 90% of the time I'll convert. And the reason is, it's because it's more personalized. And the more personalized something is, the higher your chance of converting someone, versus, say, the opposite of an annoying pop-up that comes up on a website. But what you make up for with an annoying pop-up on a website or an email is that even though it's far less personable, it's far more scalable. Now, the beautiful thing about LinkedIn is it's still using one-on-one messages, but it has this ability to still really, with the right systems and processes and approaches, you can really start to scale this up and have hundreds of conversations with your ideal market within a week. So, I'm sure you're all probably thinking, all right, where do you start? There's a million different things I could be doing, but where you need to start on LinkedIn is your personal profile. So it all comes down to your personal profile. You can have a business profile and a personal one, but the bulk of the work is done through your personal one. Now, a lot of people think that setting up your profile is all about telling people what amazing, beautiful, unique snowflake you are, how special you are, how smart you are. But it's really important that you focus your profile on the one thing that your clients really, really care about. And that's, of course, themselves. And a lot of people don't understand how this makes sense. Like, how can my profile be about my client? But it'll all make sense in a second, because what you want to do is you want to focus your profile on your clients and their problems and how you can solve them. So Dale Carnegie says it best in How to Win Friends and Influence People. He says, people are not interested in you, they're interested in themselves, morning, noon, and after dinner. So by understanding this, it allows us to set up our profile in a way that it's going to focus on what our clients really want to know and what our clients really care about themselves. So the two key things that we're going to want to focus on in our personal profile is, of course, this whiffing factor. What's in it for me? What's in it for your ideal client? When they land on your personal profile, what value are they going to get if they're going to engage with you or take some first initial step? And of course, niche, identifying who that individual is, because 9 times out of 10, they're not going to make that assumption on their own. You really have to make it very obvious and very clear for them. And it's really important, of course, that we understand that we're not a service provider. We're in fact either a problem solver or a solutions provider. So to try and put that into a bit of perspective, I like the example of like say you had a broken office chair. Now, if you had a broken office chair, you're not going to go out to the market looking for someone who says, oh, I can use a screwdriver, I can use a drill, I can use a hammer, I'm qualified in something that you've never heard of. You're going to go out to the market and find someone who says, sorry, I fix chairs fast. So it seems so obvious when you put in an example like this, but so many people are doing the same thing with their profiles. They're focusing too much on their services and the qualifications and the things that their clients probably have no idea about, rather than just focusing on that core problem that they actually solve for their clients. Now, this is a really great and yet simple structure to use when you're trying to lay out your own profile. And using headings as well is a great way to just help your ideal client, the clients, just find out the information that they want in the order they want to know it, and fast. So the first thing you want to do is talk about what is it that you do. And this is a really powerful sentence. It's almost like a micro elevator pitch. And now that you know it, you probably see it quite often across the internet, Facebook, LinkedIn. So it's basically what I do. I help, who is it that you help to achieve? What problem do you solve? What solution do you provide? By providing what services? How do you help people solve this problem? It pretty much covers the three core things that your ideal client needs to know in one sentence. And you can use this or some variation of this as well for your headline, which will follow you all around LinkedIn and the platform, so that when you start commenting on things and just making comments here and there, people are going to see that tagline and give them the chance to follow through to your profile and find out more about you and hopefully take an action to get in contact with you. So just waiting for it to load. But the next thing you want to go over is, of course, what makes you unique, or why does your service work? So this is really important because, let's jump to slide. So it's really important to put this in a little heading here, because you, like I said, your ideal client, your prospect, they're not going to try and work this out on their own. You've got to make it really easy for them. You've got to really hold their hand. Why work with you? Why does your service work? What makes you special or different from everyone else who is trying to approach them on LinkedIn? Who you work with, you might try and drill down a little bit more into the specific problems that people have that you're trying to help. Services you provide. Some people are actually looking for specific services, and a great chance to leverage some keywords that people might actually be searching for, so that you show up in the right search terms. And results, testimonials, who you've helped, a great chance to leverage credibility through other brands, associating yourself with other reputable brands. Because if a reputable brand trusts you, then people feel like they can trust you. And then you always want to finish with a call to action. Let's talk, next steps, what now? What's the first step you want them to take? The first really small, easy, no obligation type step that starts people on that customer journey of yours. And the reason we lay it out like this with headings and try and make it as obvious as possible is that our clients these days, everyone these days, are very, very lazy, and we want information served to us as fast as possible. Sorry, the slides. Whoop, there it is. There's a lazy user right there. But yeah, basically we want to make it as obvious as possible, and really dumb it down as well. So what I mean here is just use terms, don't use terms that you and your colleagues think is common knowledge or believe is common knowledge, because chances are your clients don't know it. And by trying to sound smart, you're just going to scare people away, rather than just focusing on using simple language that everyone understands. So just try and give you a few real world examples. Fabiana was doing change management, and she was originally going at it very generalistic. So she was approaching, trying to serve everyone and anyone, so that she could have a bigger market share, when really what she needed to do was be more focused, leverage her experience with reputable brands, and focus on where she had the most experience, so oil and mining. And rather than focusing on the actual service, which was change management, we decided to focus on what's the solution and what's the actual problem that she solved. So ensuring project success, oil and mining change management consultant. So that is kind of like that. I help who achieve what by providing what, but in less of a sentence. You still got those three key things. So what's the problem that you solve? Who are you helping, and how are you doing it? And by leveraging her credibility with big brands, she had an amazing result. And previously she was going to networking events and only really talking to other business owners, but she needed to be talking to directors in mining companies. So in her first week, she booked 3 meetings with mining directors in mining, but she went straight to the source and leveraged that credibility she had in the industry. Matt Haywood is another example of someone who was very feast or famine with his business and marketing. So he would do a lot of marketing and get new leads coming in when things were quiet, and then just completely give up on it when things got busy. And now he's using LinkedIn to just consistently get those drip feed of leads coming in and just build a solid, consistent business. And you can see here he's leveraged reputable brands to build that credibility and get that attention as soon as people land on the page. Yep. Let's just throw in it again. Shall I assume that? All right. So now that we know how to optimize our profile, I do think there was a slide missing actually. Yes, pictures. So when it comes to images on LinkedIn, a lot of people don't do a lot with the images, and this is really wasted opportunity. If anyone's heard of the expression "above the fold is gold," which refers to the newspapers, if anyone remembers what they are. So when the newspaper is basically presented, it's folded over, and anything that's above the fold is like key real estate, because that's the thing that everyone sees, and if it's good enough, it's going to drive people to buy the paper and actually read the rest. And so the same thing goes with your LinkedIn profile. When someone lands on the page, if it's not enticing enough, and this background image takes up a huge part of the real estate, and if it's not enticing enough and actually tells people the value that you're going to provide them, then people are just going to move on with their lives and not even scroll down. So you want to make as much use of that valuable real estate as possible. And when it comes to your profile pictures, it doesn't have to be professional to look professional. A lot of camera phones take amazing pictures these days, but it is important that you put on a big friendly face, because what you're doing when you're generating leads on LinkedIn, when you're going out to message people, you're doing what's called outbound lead generation. Now, in outbound lead generation, you're going out to people who don't know you. So the trust is at its lowest. So you want to make sure that you're looking as friendly and approachable as possible, so that people have every reason to try and get in contact with you and start that conversation and start that process to build that trust in order to work with you. Now, what we're going to go over now is how do we actually find those people that you want to do business with on LinkedIn. You don't obviously do this to go find them on LinkedIn. It's much easier than that. All you need, you don't even need a paid profile. And, oh, sorry, it's still slowing down a bit. All right. All right, so finding people on LinkedIn comes down to understanding what makes B2B digital marketing different to regular B2C. And the biggest thing that makes B2B different is that we're now targeting people based on their professional characteristics. So we're not targeting people based on their likes and dislikes, or what social groups they're part of. We're targeting people based on things like their title within a company, what industry they work for, how big the company is, where the company is located, how long they've been at that company, all these different things associated with their professional characteristics. And this is what makes LinkedIn the most powerful platform for B2B lead generation, because all this information is readily given to you for free, basically. You can get a subscription account on LinkedIn and gives you a lot more ability to drill down on specific titles and message more. But even just with the free account that you can see here, there's a lot of power in finding the right people that you want to do business with and just starting conversations with them. And like I was saying, you can, if you want to, you can get a free trial month with LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And this gives you a lot more ability to drill down on specific company sizes, company names, titles, and really run exclusions and do some really tricky stuff with the filtering. Even at its most complex, it's still not that hard to get started with and do a pretty good job. And like I said, this is really what makes LinkedIn the most powerful platform, because as far as I'm concerned, I'm really not that worried about whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. All I care about is how easy is it to find that person that I want to do business with and have the highest chance of success, that if I start a conversation with them, that it's going to be the most relevant person to me and my services. Like I said, this is where LinkedIn really comes into its own. For anyone who wants to have a bit of a play around with Sales Navigator on LinkedIn, this is a really simple filter that you can use to just start targeting decision makers at SMEs, so small, medium enterprises. CEO, CFO, chief COO, director, founder, general manager, GM, head of owner, and you'll start to pick up a lot of decision makers within these small companies. It's a really good filter. You can add more and sort of attract more, but it's a great place to start. And the really cool thing about LinkedIn or just digital marketing in general is that even with the niche market, a seemingly small, narrow market, you've now got access to the entire world, basically. So if you're selling a web service or something and you don't need to be there in person, a really, really small market can still become almost infinite. And even within a city, like a city, you just have access to so many more people than you do with your immediate network. And when you start to drill down and start focusing on a niche market and focusing on helping the same people, not only do you become an expert and you can charge more for your services, but because you're dealing with that same problem over and over and over, you can solve it easier, faster, cheaper, and charge more. So there's just so many reasons to niche down. And it still feels, for a lot of people, like you're limiting how much you can sell, but it's absolutely not when it comes to digital marketing, because like I said, you now have access to basically the entire world at your fingertips. You just need the right approach and to focus on solving that right problem. So once you've optimized your profile and of course you found who you want to do business with, the next step is of course prospecting. So starting those conversations without sounding sleazy or spammy. And what you want to do is of course personalize these messages in a way so that it comes across as very genuine. And this is the part where a lot of people will start to, kind of find it a bit uncomfortable and they don't want to go out and approach strangers. They're worried about annoying people. But it's really important that, first of all, you approach this with the mindset that you're not going out to annoy people. You're going out because you really, truly believe in the service and you really want to go out and help people and provide value. And keeping that in mind helps you with what we're going to go through next, and that's writing messages. And you always want to try and add value first. So the first step you want to go through when it comes to connecting with someone on LinkedIn, when it comes to actually having a conversation with someone on LinkedIn, is you have to connect with them. So it's a little bit like, say, on Facebook, you have to actually become someone's friend to talk to them. On LinkedIn, you only have 300 characters to convince a complete stranger to join your network and be able to have those one-on-one conversations. And so when you go to connect with someone, you click on add note, and you always want to add some sort of message in order to increase your chances of someone to actually connect with you. A lot of people just click connect with anyone and everyone, and they're really shooting themselves in the foot by actually increasing their chance of conversion. So, let's see. So here's a couple of great examples of connection requests that work. So they're going to seem very generic, and they are. But what you can do is get the idea that template, that structure, and apply your own language, your own character to it. Because like I said, you want this to be coming from you, but having this template is going to help you make sure that you cover the right points and do it in a way that you know people are likely to connect. So say, hi, John, I'm looking to connect with other high-level professionals in, say, mining, like yourself. I have extensive experience in mining. It'd be great to connect. Pretty, not too spammy or sleazy or salesy. It's just, I've got experience in this. So you're giving people a reason as well to connect with you. You've got experience in the industry. You're looking to expand your network. Nothing too crazy about that. Oh, another one that works quite well. On LinkedIn, you can filter people by secondary connections as well, which means you can find people who are connected to people you're connected to. So, hi, John. Sorry. I was browsing through other consultants on LinkedIn, and noticed we had a few shared connections. I'm hoping to expand my network and connect with more professionals like yourself. It'd be great to have you in my network. So you do increase your chance of conversion by connecting with people who aren't too far removed from you and your network. So a great way to, once again, increase that chance of conversion and return on investment for your work. So once you've actually connected with someone, the next thing you want to do is try and add value, and not instantly, like as soon as they're connected with you, just like slam the next message in their face. You give it a day or two, and then, you know, give them a chance to actually respond, and then give it a day or two and thank them for connecting. So I found that the thank you message is where really most of the money lives, in that if your profile is set up correctly and you're focusing on solving the right problems, when you just thank someone for connecting and saying, are you ever interested? Let me know if you're ever interested in talking more. What happens is inherently a lot of people will go and check out your profile, and if it resonates with them, there's a good chance that they'll say, yeah, sure, let's jump on a call sometime and learn a little bit more about what you do. And you can also say, if you'd like me to share my quick step-by-step guide for lead generation on LinkedIn, let me know, I'll be happy to share it too. So this is mine, obviously. But if you have any good resources, and I mean that they need to be good, not just something that you slap together, because if it's not good enough, people will read it and that'll be an indication of the quality of work that you provide. So if you don't have a good enough free resource, I would err on the side of providing the time as a resource. And I'll go into that in a second. But yeah, great way to add value is to just say, look, are you interested in talking? I've also got this great resource. You might like to have it, happy to share it. One other thing that's really, and I'm going into a lot for such a small message, but one other thing that's really important is that you don't just send people links. You always ask for their permission first. So this does two things. First of all, you know, you're actually asking for permission before you just send them stuff that they probably don't want. And you also get them to that first small piece of engagement. Just the small yes or something that just makes it easier to begin and start to nurture an actual conversation or a relationship. So as I was saying, if you don't have a resource, you can do something along the lines of this message. So, hi, John, thanks for connecting. I'm curious to learn a bit more about you and the company. I make a point of connecting and learning about my connections on LinkedIn. It'd be great to hear a bit more about the work you're doing, what's working and what isn't. Might be able to help you identify a few quick wins with some industry insight that lets people know that you're an actual expert. I have a strong track record of delivering high quality solutions in, say, mining. Would you be open to a call or a catch up sometime? I'm in Brisbane if you wanted to grab a coffee. My shout. So once again, you're going to want to take this and put it into your own language and make sure it is appropriate to the industry that you're targeting. The idea is that you're going to want people to talk about themselves, and you're going to want to try and give them some sort of reason to actually get on a call with you, trying to add value without having to commit to too much to get on that call. And so what I've gone through here today is, it's not rocket science. It's really just a matter of understanding your clients and their problems and how you can help them, finding them and starting a conversation. The biggest thing here is that you need to commit to it daily. You need to make sure that you're always every day just starting those conversations. Consistency is the key here. So you want to commit to it, you want to manage it, you want to measure how well you're doing so that you can continuously refine it and make sure it gets better and better and better. So this is a really great way to manage all your leads without having to learn a CRM or be stuck with using LinkedIn's system, and just by putting it all in a spreadsheet. So then you can just get everyone that you need to talk to, and then you can work out, who's been sent what message and where everyone's up to. And so all that you need to do is just come into your inbox once a day, not your LinkedIn inbox, your email inbox, because the LinkedIn inbox is a nightmare to manage. And you just check who's actually replied. So who do you want to focus your effort on, and who do you need to start continue these conversations with. And basically it just helps you keep track of where everyone's up to, because if you try and do it without a system to manage it, it's just going to be a nightmare and basically impossible. So if it's something that you're interested in doing, the LinkedIn lead generation, there's really 3 options. You can either commit the time to learning it and doing it yourselves, and I'm happy to provide all the resources. I'm sure we'll work out a way to make them all available. Otherwise, they're on my website. You can commit the time to learn it and train either a virtual assistant or a junior staff member to do the heavy lifting and sending out the initial messages, or you can hire an expert to do it for you. So, which is what I do. I'm a LinkedIn lead generator, and I do done for you LinkedIn lead generation. So what I do more specifically is I help people optimize and write their LinkedIn profiles, build those highly targeted lists of leads, and build the strategy with which to go out and start the conversations with these people without trying to sound too sleazy or salesy in a way that's very likely to convert. Then I can either hand over the process, the whole strategy for you to do it yourself, coach you to work with your own team, or just do everything for you. So all you need to do is spend 15 minutes a day replying to people who are actually interested in the service. And I have a money back guarantee. But I don't want to push myself too hard here. I just really wanted to try and give you as much value as possible. So if you do want some resources, just head to the website. You can ryancaswell.com, and feel free to reach out to me. I do free strategy sessions for anyone who wants to have a chat if this is something that they're actually after. Is there anything else?
No, thank you so much. It's been great. And we just want to say that we had a session with Ryan and it was really valuable. We have put the link for your website in the comments for people to inquire. And yeah, we found it incredibly useful for ourselves because as usual, kind of the usual approach to use LinkedIn is either to leave it half empty or type up something like resume type of thing. So for us, we actually started really looking into our LinkedIn profile and what we say. I have a question though. Yeah. With the sales navigator, so in order to send a message, do you actually need to friend them first?
So you don't actually have to. On Sales Navigator, you can send what's called an in-mail.
Yes.
But it's not very effective. Well, it's not as effective. You only have 20 of them. And it's kind of like when you see them, you just ignore them. But so what you want to do is you want to find out who's actually willing to connect with you, because then you know where to focus your efforts. Because if you send only 20 in-mail, people are first of all more likely to ignore it. But you also want to engage with people who are willing to at least connect with you. So you can connect through Sales Navigator, but you actually want to do it through just regular LinkedIn, because that way they can actually see that you have viewed their profile. It will say such and such has viewed their profile. And once again, they might go and check out your profile as a result.
And just normal LinkedIn, it allows to search people as well, per industry, per company, per size as well. So you really don't need Sales Navigator. So when would you use Sales Navigator? When is it actually worth paying for it? Because it's quite expensive.
When you want to start scaling things up. So you're pretty limited with how many people you can connect with on LinkedIn normal. And also once you want to start getting a bit more specific around the types of people you want to target. So I don't think you can target based on search criteria on title on regular LinkedIn, and that's a really powerful search. I'm pretty sure that you can't. But there's a few search queries that are on Sales Navigator that aren't on normal that make it worth it. But the main thing is that it does allow you to message, I think it's like up to 5 times more people per day, and just gives you a lot more capacity to actually reach out to more people. That's the real core benefit.
Mm. And just a little bit of inquiry in terms of how you schedule your day. Do you go actually every single day and connect with other people, or do you have certain days when you do it or certain hours?
So I've got a team who help me actually get the connections out. So I build a list of who I want to target and what I want to say to get the messages out. And those initial messages. And for people who actually reply, I actually only come onto LinkedIn once a day in the morning, about 6 a.m. and spend about 15 to 30 minutes replying to people who have shown interest, and trying to schedule calls throughout the week. And then I don't touch it for the rest of the day, basically. You want to bucket your time with this. So you want to do everything at once, and then don't touch it. It's a little bit like your emails. It can be addictive. And you want to spend more time on it and be reactive to when people message you, but it's going to pull you away from important business development work. So it's a good idea to just come on once a day, check the messages, reply to the messages, process the messages, and follow up people that you need to. So you do need to get those touch points up. You're not just going to message someone and they're instantly going to do all the work for you. But yeah, that's my schedule. I'll come in once a day, check the messages, progress everything I need to, and then put it away.
Okay.
And right, for posting, so you're saying that you come in every day in 6 a.m. Is a particular time? Was there a reason for that time? Is it a convenience to you? Is it is it because you find that there's the best results?
No, so it's just convenient to me, basically. The posting, on the other hand, my team helped me with the posting, because once again, it's kind of a poor use of a business owner's time to be posting content every day. It pulls you away from what you should be doing. So that I try to do in the morning about 8, 9, 10. I don't get too hung up on it. It's more important that I'm just getting it out than I worry about the exact time. But yeah, I have found the morning has had better engagement for posting content. But yeah, don't get too hung up on it. It's more important to just be consistent and consistently get more and more out than it is to worry about the exact right time.
And do you find LinkedIn pages quite valuable and effective, or it's more just kind of there in image type of thing?
Well, business page?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most of the work's done through personal, or the relationship building and conversation starting. So it's a little bit like a website. It kind of needs to exist, and people are used to scrolling down, seeing what company you work for, clicking on that, and then clicking through to the website. That's the most important thing, just make sure there's a link to your website on it. But you can pretty much take that same value proposition that you're using on your personal profile, more or less, and apply it to your business page.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for giving this valuable information. I'm sure lots of people will find it. Yeah, they will find it very interesting, and it will bring their attention to what's actually going on for their page right now.
I just realized as well, I've got, for anyone who'd noticed, I got a nail painted. It's not a crazy person. It's for a fundraising campaign I'm doing.
Oh, wow. What's the fundraising?
I just thought I'd bring that up, because every now and then I caught a glimpse of it. I'm like,
what's the fundraising for?
It's for Polished Man. So it's White Gap. It's to raise awareness for violence against children. So,
okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to put some videos up on LinkedIn about that. But yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up, because I remember seeing it like in video. I'm like, I feel like I should explain what that is.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today.
No worries. Thanks so much. And I hope your community gets some value out of the video.
Yeah, they will. Thanks. Bye.